What's up, guys? PDC here for Game 2 and Game 3 of the OLT Round 7 series versus Shartruce. I'm going to be on this side of the battle, not this side, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to be using a Charizard Y team with Keldeo, and yeah, you can probably tell what this team is. This is like the most standard possible build I can bring. Honestly, this is Keldeo, Specs Keldeo, plus Latios with Defog, plus Charizard Y, plus a Scarftar. This team has not lost once, as far as I believe. It has not lost once in my OLT series, and I've used this team pretty much every single round I could. So, with that, I figured I might as well bring a Game 2, as it hasn't failed me yet, and I hope it wouldn't fail me this time. Shartruce is going to bring an interesting team with probably Combine Coon, a bulkier core of Heatran Landorus T. Landorus T is probably the Scarf one. Probably SD Scizor, as I could imagine it would be the Mega Pokemon in this situation. A Latios and a Mew. Mew could probably just be the Taunt Wisp variant, as Latios could be just a Defog Life Orb. We're going to go ahead and start this game up right now. We're both running the decently bulkier teams, or at least he is. This is kind of a bulky offense team, but he's going to go ahead and lead with his Heatran, which is really not bad, as I go ahead and lead with my Keldeo. I figured he would lead with Heatran or something like that to get rocks up turn 1. He's going to go ahead and go straight to his Suicune, maybe predicting I would Icy Wind or something like that. Although Suicune does do a pretty good job of basically walling Keldeo if it doesn't have any hazards or weather up on the field. Even though Secret Sword's going to do quite a bit, I realize that this is going to be still annoying to face. I do just go for another Secret Sword, though, as I want to force him to rest early. He's going to go out to his Mew, obviously. I wanted to double switch there to Charizard or something like that, but I don't know. I didn't feel safe doing it. I probably should have. But whatever. It doesn't really matter that much, as I can just go to my Charizard here, which really isn't that bad of a situation. He's going to be able to predict that I am going to go to Charizard here and go to his Latios. Now, this really isn't that bad for me. As I just go ahead and go to my Tyranitar here and basically pursued him as he Dracos. So, yeah, now Charizard Y only has one counter on his team, and that is his Heatran, which isn't really liking a Focus Blast. And if I get, it's not really that big of a deal either. I just go ahead and pursue the Latios. The crit is annoying, as that means he can't Draco or Earthquake me again, so that kind of sucks. But he's going to go out to his Suicune here. Combine Coon is really annoying for my team. It's annoying for basically every team in X and Y. I go out to my Ferrothorn, which I am hoping does not get burned, as I have Power Whip, and I know that I can beat this Suicune as long as he does not burn me. So, this is kind of a tightrope game. I really am not liking this situation that I'm in. I'm going to go ahead and hit him with Leech Seed on the Heatran, as I do not have Spikes. I don't have, Stealth Rock. My Landorus T is my Stealth Rocker here. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just Leech Seed the Heatran, get as much damage on it as possible, as I do want the Heatran to be weakened for my own Charizard Y. Now, I'm going to go out to my Landorus T here, and he's going to go through his Stealth Rock. I decided to just go for Stealth Rocks here as well, which, when I really thought about it, it didn't make that much sense, as I was probably just going to end up defogging them away anyway. But as you'll see in the later game, my plan doesn't exactly play out as well, and I'm actually kind of glad I went with the Stealth Rocks here. Now that rocks are up on his field, I can just U-turn out of the Suicune, do a bit of extra damage to it, as I am indeed not Scarf Landorus. The U-turn away is going to be pretty good for me, as I can get a little chip damage on the Suicune along with the rocks. The only real switch I have with this guy is for Hawthorne, who has Power Whip and can manage to beat this Combine Coon. He keeps going for Scald, hoping to burn me, but just my luck, he doesn't manage to burn me, which is really good for me. Ferrothorn is pretty crucial in this game, as you'll see. It is impervious to burns because it's the best Pokemon in the world. I do miss a Leech Seed, which kind of sucks. I guess that kind of makes up for the burns that he's been missing, but then again, it is Scald, so honestly, how sorry can you really be that he's not burning you? He's going to go ahead and call his Suicune back, as he's going to go out to his Heatran. Now, this was a good play on his part. I probably should have Leech Seeded again, but he went for the Scald the first time, so I figured he might have done that again. But I guess he realized that it was kind of a risky move to actually stay in and Scald again. And I Power Whip the Heatran, which really isn't that great, as now he knows I have Power Whip, but it doesn't really matter that much in the end anyway. as I'm just going to be able to switch out to my Ferrothorn and go out to my Tyranitar, or my Dirt, as you'll, I don't know, while we're just watching the sequence, all of my Pokemon are named after Alice in Chains songs. Every single one of them. And it helps me win games. He's going to go out to a Scizor here as I go for a Stone Edge. I could have pursued the Heatran, but I realized that he didn't. I wanted to get some damage on basically anything that he can switch into. Pursuit might have been the better play here, but it doesn't really matter in the end, as I do a lot to Scizor, so I guess it's a pretty equal trade-off. I decided to just sacrifice my Tyranitar here. I could have probably went to my Keldeo or something like that, and maybe saved Tyranitar as just a Stealth Rock switch to kill. But I'm going to go to my Keldeo here, and this is kind of where I'm like, maybe I could have done something else, but I just am going to go ahead and kill the Scizor with a Scald. I want to prevent Mew from coming in. I want to prevent Heatran from coming in. So I have to go for a Scald, basically. He's going to go out to a Suicune, and I'm still risking the burn here. The only switch he has is his Suicune at this point. And I am worried that he's going to burn me this time, and that's annoying. I realize that if he burns my Ferrothorn, I might have basically no chance of winning this game. He's going to go ahead and, go for another Scald here. Doesn't burn my Ferrothorn again, which is really just incredible luck on my part. Ferrothorn is also in pretty good shape and health, too, so that's also really amazing. If he burned me, then I probably would have lost. I mean, maybe I could still play games with Leech Seed plus Latios or Leech Seed plus Specs Keldeo, but it's still kind of a shaky situation. I go ahead and Leech Seed the Heatran just to weaken it up, as that Heatran is pretty annoying, and I do want to get it weakened as possible. I go ahead and hit it with a Protect here, just to weaken it just a little bit more. Stealth Rock plus Leech Seed wears down Heatran like nothing else, honestly. It absolutely wears down the living hell out of it. It really does. Let's look at this thing. After another round of Stealth Rock, this thing's going to be basically dead and doomed to die to Latios. But, I'm going to go ahead and switch out my Ferrothorn there, and I go up to my Keldeo here, expecting him to go for a Lava Plume or a Toxic. He go ahead and misses the Toxic, which does suck for him, especially he's just been missing out on all these status moves. He's just been missing out on every single status move possible. And the Toxic is not going to hit me, so I have basically a free move here. I figure he's going to either go to Mew or Suicune. I made kind of a misplay here. I should have probably Hydro Pumped, like, as far as I remember, Hydro Pump actually, never mind. I don't think it KOs 2 KO Suicune at that point, but I think Skull probably would have been the better play. I just did not want him to get any sort of switch in on Suicune at all. I go to my Charizard, or Godsmack here, and he's going to go ahead and play me again and double out. I was really afraid he was going to do this, which is why I kind of had the urge to stall to Secret Sword again, but then again, I guess it really wouldn't have done anything anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and switch out my Godsmack, my Charizard, and go out to my own bulky Landorus T, which doesn't really give a damn about anything this Landorus does. He makes the good play and goes for a U-turn, so that is kind of annoying on my part, as this gives him a straight-out switch to a Suicune or Mew if he wants to. Although getting a Mew would be really stupid to play if you have a Suicune in your team. So he's going to go ahead and switch out to a Suicune here. I'm just going to U-turn right back out and hopefully get a little more chip damage on this thing. Wearing down Suicune is very key here. Now, I really feel the right play here is to go to Latios. And as you can see, it was. I realized that he was probably going to burn me sometime, and I wanted to get a defog off is what I wanted to do. So I just go ahead and get burned here with my Latios, and I realize that Draco Meteor from this Latios is basically a guaranteed kill, and I really have no reason not to do it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fire up a Draco Meteor. I could have defogged, but, I don't know. I didn't really feel like it, if that's the perfect answer I can give you. I go ahead and do basically nothing with the Draco Meteor. Quite literally nothing. He's in full-on special defensive Tran, and that's gonna do absolutely 0 damage. Now, my Latios is still going to be able to kill the Heatran with Side Shock. He lacks Protect, so he's not going to be able to get up any extra leftovers damage on his side. Latios is basically dead now, and I've realized that I'm probably not going to be able to get the opportunity to defog at this point. And Charizard Y is probably still going to be, a dead. He's probably still going to die, basically. That's the only thing that I can really say. But he can switch him one more time, I suppose, although he can't really be on the move since he basically just auto-dies to anything that happens. Now, I'm just going to go out to my Keldeo here, predicting him to go for a U-turn or something like that. If he U-turns, then I'm at an advantage, as Specs Keldeo can hit anything on his team. And at this point, Landorus T and Mew are both going to be 2 KO by Sacred Sword. Now, he's going to go ahead and knock off my Choice Specs, which isn't that horrible, as Keldeo is still decently strong and versatile without the choice specs, and considering how weakened this team is, I really am not having that much of a problem without being locked into one move. Although it would still be good to have specs though, as that way I could still technically beat Keldeo in a pinch with Leech Seed plus Secret Sword. But he's going to go ahead and go out to a Suicune here. I realize at this point he's kind of going to be forced to rest. So that means he's going to be either... I didn't want to get burned here in case he didn't go for the rest, but he is going to rest anyway. And, you know, that's pretty much that. I have to sack something or just go to Ferrothorn. I was really nervous and thinking he was going to go for a Scald. But he doesn't, and he just decides to go for a rest, which was probably the right play overall. And it was the right play overall, as now he's back at full. But he's asleep, and that's pretty good for me, as this means he can't choose his Scald on free will. He has to go for a Sleep Talk. He switches out knowing that I have Power Whip, which I'm obviously going to go for here. And I do miss the Landorus T, which is a little annoying, admittedly. But you know, it doesn't matter too much. He's going to go ahead and knock off my Ferrothorn here. I just stayed in, basically, again. And I'm going to go ahead and strike him with a nice and crisp Leech Seed. Heal right back up all the health that I lost. I don't really need leftovers that much, considering I'm not going to be using Ferrothorn for much besides beating Suicune. If I get burned, it's likely game over for Ferrothorn anyway. He's going to go right back to a Suicune here. I go ahead and strike him with a Power Whip. Pressure is also really annoying, and when Power Whip is doing that little, even with Leech Seed, I figured, alright, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat this Suicune just like this, considering how little Power Whip does and the chance that it's going to miss. Now, I do still go for a nice and crisp Leech Seed here, as he gets the Sleep Talk Calm Mind, which is, it's better than him getting his burn with a Sleep Talk Scald. But with the Leech Seed, I am going to be able to keep Suicune on its heels and weaken as much as I can, as Leech Seed is going to be very crippling to him, as he's not going to be able to get his full leftovers recovery, and he's still going to be taking a little damage every single turn. I go to my Keldeo here, my damn Vet River, because, quite obviously, Keldeo is a river of power. And I'm going to go ahead and heal up a little bit thanks to the Leech Seed. Keldeo gains a decent amount of HP back from this Leech Seed because of how much HP Coon has. I mean, look at that. That's like 14% from a Leech Seed. That's really good. He's going to go ahead and switch out his Coon, which is definitely going to be even weaker after the Stealth Rocks hit him again. And I'm going to go ahead and strike him with a Sacred Sword. At this point, the game is mine no matter what he does. I can just sack the Keldeo. If he wants to Earthquake, then Charizard wins because he dies in Stealth Rock. But he's just going to go ahead and go for a Stone Edge. I don't need to switch. I don't need to make any fancy plays. And I'm just going to Secret Sword the Landorus T again. At this point, I figure the game is still not decided, as Suicune has always pulled off a last month sweep. But Suicune is pretty weakened, and you never know what this Pokemon can do. I believe, at least I think, this was his last turn of sleep, so we could rest here and get back to full. So I switch out to my Ferrothorn to get a Leech Seed on and weaken him again, hoping that he doesn't get a nice Scald burn in his sleep. But I guess that really is going to depend. I think in the end, even if he burnt my Ferrothorn with Scald at this point, my Keldeo probably still could have won, but I don't know. It depends on how lucky I get, really. Actually, it probably couldn't have. If he burnt my Ferrothorn, that probably would have been game, honestly. But he's going to go ahead and Calm Mind up in his sleep with a Sleep Talk, and I'm going to go ahead and Leech Seed him. Now, he does go for the Scald here. I was really worried it was going to burn, but it doesn't once again, and I'm going to be able to strike him with a Power Whip, which is quite a bit of damage, especially when it's compounded with Leech Seed. He realizes this is game here, and that is it. That is the end of Game 2, which I come out in victorious. He's going to go ahead and wake up, and there's really nothing else he can do here. He just decides to go for a Scald, hoping that'll get a last-minute burn. Even if he did burn there, he still probably would have died to a Power Whip plus Leech Seed combination. But anyway, with that, good game, Shartruce. That was Game 2, and now we're going to go on to Game 3. Alright guys, this is Game 3 of Shartruce versus me, OLT. I'm going to be using the Manaphy Hugo team once again, and he's going to be using an interesting team with Charizard, Clefable, Tyranitar, Landorus. It's a similar build using a Pursuiter, Scarftar to get rid of stuff like Starmie, Landorus, and Charizard's counters. It's a relatively bulky team with stuff like Clefable, Ferrothorn, Starmie. Kind of interesting, I gotta say. I believe he used this a couple rounds ago versus Remedy. I actually remembered part of the team. I remember that was like, at least, I remember the base of the team. It's pretty similar to what he used before. The Starmie, Clefable, Chorish kind of part of the team. I wasn't really that worried, as I figured that I did have a decent enough matchup, but I did not win in the way that I thought I would. I didn't expect this Pokemon to have certain movesets. We're going to go ahead and start the game right off the bat. You guys know the team that I'm using. It's a bulkier Sandish team with a Powdon Tyranitar, Manaphy, Hugo team. Let's start the game. I don't need to explain this team again. I don't want to explain it again. He's going to go ahead and lead out with his Landorus. I do not have Ice Punch, but he might be a little afraid that I do. I'm just going to go out to my Latios here, and he's going to go ahead and switch out to his Clefable. Good play on his part, I gotta say, because this way, even if I do have Ice Punch, it's not going to do anything to Clefable unless I got a Lucky Freeze. And if I don't have Ice Punch, I'm going to switch to the Latios, and Clefable's going to beat my Latios, so that's pretty good on his part. A nice play on him just to start out the game. I go ahead and go to my Hippowdon, which can tank a Moonblast, as I know that this is not Calm Mind Clefable. I know that it's Stealth Rock, I know it's not going to be able to set up on my Hippowdon. Even if it did, I probably could have Whirlwinded it out anyway. He's going to go out to a Starmie here, and I know that I can probably catch it with an Earthquake boosted by Sandforce, which I do. So that's really good for me, I gotta say. And it does a lot of damage. 61% to a 252 HP Starmie. That's a lot of damage. That's really nice. I'm going to go ahead and set up my rocks here, expecting him to cover. I figured I could play games with him, maybe catching him with a Pursuit or something with my Scarftar later on, but I'm just going to go ahead and set up my Stealth Rocks on his Ferrothorn switch. I'm going to go to my Mega Venusaur here, my loveless Venusaur, and he can't really beat me with Ferrothorn at all. I do have HP Fire, as he probably already knows, considering how much I've used this team. And he's going to switch out here. I probably should have made a different play. Instead of HP firing here, I probably should have Giga Drained, as that way I would have done like 50% to his Landorus. But it doesn't really matter that much in the end, as he does end up basically giving this thing away. But we'll save that part for later. Hinamara Fire is still going to do a decent enough amount, so I'm really not that unhappy. I can just go out to my Latios here, as this is going to basically just be a suicide mission. As it ends up, he does have Sludge Wave. I was more nervous that he had something like Knockoff, as Landor's Eye absolutely destroys my team if Latios is dead. I'm just going to go ahead and go for a Draco Meteor here. I really didn't see that much of a point of saving Latios at this point. I mean, it would have been kind of crucial, but in the end, I really just didn't care enough. He go ahead and go out to his Tyranitar here, and Draco Meteor is obviously going to not kill him. He's going to kill me with Pursuit in return. But I realize that there is a Pokemon on my team that, in fact, can basically single-handedly win this game right now if I get the lucky rolls. And that's my SD Scizor. I never would have thought that my SD Scizor, 252 careful special defense boosted Scizor, would have actually been the key to winning a game, possibly a sweep. But it goes to the sword since he goes to his Landorus here. And a +2 Bullet Punch, even with only 8 attack EVs and a careful nature, is going to be able to take out the Landorus at +2, which is really good for me, as that was a huge threat, even at a relatively low HP, to my team. Bullet Punch is not going to be able to kill the Charizard, though, so I have to switch out when it comes in, but we're going to see how this game unfolds. I make a really crucial set of plays here. I was nervous he was going to go for the Focus Blast on my Scarftar switch, but I realized that I can definitely manage to weaken him as much as I possibly can. I've always liked pursuing Pokemon on the Switch, and this Charizard is no exception. I realized that this Charizard, let me pause this video real quick. This Charizard is incredibly important to him. This is a really good play. If I Stone Edge, then he instantly loses the game, because he knows that SD Scizor will beat him in the end. So I take advantage of that and go for the Pursuit with my Tyranitar. This is what I did a lot of times in previous games, like with the Pinsir versus Choice Specs. The Pursuit is not going to kill him, but after Rocks, that's going to leave him in a 2%. So basically, he's going to die to anything, and unless he managed to remove those Rocks, he's basically done for. He's going to go ahead and go to his Tyranitar as a sacrifice. Either way, I think I probably would have went the Ferrothorn there, but whatever, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. I'm going to go ahead and call my Tyranitar back and go to my Hippowdon, which is going to be in a bad situation for the Ferrothorn. I guess this is the better position for him at this point, as this Ferrothorn is something that Hippowdon, even with Sandforce, is not going to be able to beat. I have to switch out, and I am a little nervous here, as quite honestly, I really don't have that many good switches for this thing. Ferrothorn is also really annoying, considering how Gyro Ball does a lot, but he Thunder Waves me, which pretty much means, oh wait a minute, this guy doesn't have Gyro Ball. His Gyro Ball plus Thunder Wave has never worked and never will work. So as he paralyzes me, I'm like, alright, well, okay, that's kind of annoying, but I don't really care. I guess it's okay, I suppose. I go for a Giga Drain here, expecting him to switch. I don't believe he's going to stay in, and the Giga Drain does manage to kill the Tyranitar. If I HP Fire there, it probably would have not have killed, so it's a good thing that I did go for the Giga Drain. And now he gets a free switch, however, out to his either Charizard or Starmie. He's going to go out to his Starmie here, and he's going to be able to remove the hazards. Now, this Giga Drain from my Venusaur is going to easily kill the Starmie. Well, obviously it's going to kill the Starmie, and I heal up a little bit of my health, which is good, especially considering how Venusaur has a lot of hazard on its side of the field at this point. But still, the game is in anybody's field, as that Charizard Y is a menace. The only switch I really have to it is either my own T-Tar or Manaphy. I decided to end up going to my Manaphy here, which I gotta say, I did not expect to work. I figured this Charizard Y would have just roosted up, then Flamethrower me. I would have had to play Pursuit games with it. It would have been a strange game, is what I'm trying to say. This was really... It was a game of odds. He goes to the Roost here, and he switches out, which really was a big, like, wait a minute. You're saying this guy lacks Solar Beam? I don't know what type of Charizard he was running. Maybe it was, like, Flamethrower, EQ, Focus Blast, but I go for a Scald and the Ferrothorn. Hopefully, I'm trying to burn this guy, as if I do manage to get the burn on the Ferrothorn, that's going to be really crucial, and Manaphy's going to have a nice and clean field day on this guy. Now, he goes for the Spikes, another layer, which is really good for me, compounded with the burn. I mean, he can't really touch me for another turn. He's going to be either forced to Leech Seed me or Power Whip me now. I'm going to go ahead and set up a nice Tail Glow, get me the +3, and this is Rain Dance Manaphy. So, this is going to give me the ability to remove the Sun and do like 50% with a +3 Scald to that Ferrothorn in the Rain. So, that's really good for me, too. I go ahead and set up the Rain Dance here, which is going to cancel out the Sun, which is really good for me. He's going to go ahead and go for the Power Whip here, which, honestly, it did a decent amount. I was kind of surprised how much it did. Although, then again, I'm not really running that much bulk. But he's going to go ahead and hit me with a Power Whip, and now he switches out to his Charizard, which, honestly, didn't make... Well, actually, no, I know he probably thought I was like a rest set, and he thought he was going to cancel out the Sun. But I go ahead and Scald the Charizard there, and that's pretty much going to be game in my eyes. Because now, once I get my Rocks up, that's pretty much going to be it. He go ahead and switches right back out to his Ferrothorn, which is going to be... It doesn't really take anything at all from the Scald and the Sun. So really, this is just a sacrifice at this point. The Manaphy, I have basically no use for it. But I'm still going to probably just go out to my Apoudon here, as why not? I really didn't care enough. If I wanted to sack the Manaphy, I could have, but you'll see that the Manaphy does kind of give me a little help later on in the game. Well, later on is in a couple turns. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my Apoudon here and just set up Rocks. At this point, I really have only one play. This is a pretty straightforward game. I just Stealth Rock here, and then I Earthquake as the Zard comes in. Well, by that I mean I Stealth Rock as the Zard switches in, and now I Earthquake, so he can't Roost. The Stealth Rock is going to go up on his field. This means that his Charizard is in a death situation. He can't Roost, as Earthquake won't kill him, and, you know, that's pretty much it. He can't Roost. That's it. I go to my Charizard here. He has no way that he can beat my, he can get rid of Hazard at this point. So basically, the Zard is indeed dead. The Zard cannot win at this point, as now it will be dead to Hazards. I don't need to go for Pursuit. I don't need to go for Stone Edge. I just need to go for Crunch. Now, boom, the game's over. The Charizard Y gets killed from the Crunch. He goes with Clefable here. I have no reason not to crunch him again. He's not anything like Calm Mind Clefable, so I'm not worried about something like that. Crunch is going to be doing nothing, because I really don't need it to be doing anything. He's just going to go ahead and Moonblast me, and that's going to be pretty much game at this point. As you can see, either my Scizor or my Venusaur can clean up at this point. He's going to go ahead and kill me with the Moonblast again. I don't need Tyranitar for anything. It's not like it will be helpful anyway. I go to my Manaphy here just to get a little extra bit of damage on the Clefable. I still thought it was possible he had Flamethrower at this point, so I was kind of worried that he might have it. I wanted to just stall out a couple extra turns from Sand. But, yeah, I go for a Scald here. Not really going to do that much, but it is going to do a decent amount. He's going to kill my Manaphy. The game's winding down, and now I go to my Scizor. I go for the Bullet Punch here because I realize that if he does something like Flamethrower or, you know, something like that, I just go for the bullet punch. I realize that if he has flamethrower, I'm gonna die, no matter how much special defense I have. So I'm forced to go for the bullet punch, basically. I'm just playing it safe. His Ferrothorn cannot touch me, as it has Power Whip, and it's 4 times resisted, and yeah, that's pretty much game here. I have no reason, really, to fear this Ferrothorn, and he's burned, too, so it's not like he can do anything. His main way of damage at this point is just by using Leech Seed, and I don't really get hurt by this guy at all, especially considering I have Roost, so it's not like I really can lose to this thing either. I go for the Swords Dance to seal my victory, and that is indeed game. While Iron Barbs is still kind of annoying, I realize that there's really no way he's going to be able to win at this point. This Scizor is easily going to be able to take out the rest of his team. Right now, it's just a sequence of I Roost, he goes for another layer of Spikes, or Thunder Waves me, or something like that. The only way he can win now is if he pulls out the legendary HP Fire Expert Belt Ferrothorn, which obviously he does not have, and that is going to be the end of Game 3. With that, that's pretty much it. That's the game. No way he can possibly win at this point. He's going to go ahead and Thunder Wave me again, because he really can't touch me otherwise. I go ahead and hit him with a knockoff, and this whole sequence of events is me just making sure I'm at maximum health for the next time he switches in Clefable, so in case he does have Flamethrower, I can always just Bullet Punch it and live one Flamethrower from it. So, yeah, that was the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As you can tell, there's really nothing he can do here. He's just power whipping me, and it's doing 5%, and there's really nothing he can do here. I just go for a Roost here. Again, as I do want to heal up as much as possible, so in case he has Flamethrower, you know, I can live one in case I get paralyzed. He's gonna power whip me, miss, ja. That's the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these games, and I'm playing either Taesung, the recent Smogon Tour champion, or Subixel, the German wonder. So with that, that's pretty much game. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this. I am in round 8 of OLT right now. I am in top 8 of OLT, actually. So we'll see if I can bring home the black trophy as the games go on. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on